Welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. I'm going to talk about 4 ways you can use technology to increase your performance, reduce cost, and be able to track and keep an eye on some of your staff. In this particular industry and in many industries, you have to really trust your employees, and you need to trust them with large amounts of money, large amounts of costs, materials, vans, everything basically adds up. And in this particular industry, it has been exploited time and time again. So if you're one of those people that operate a small business, or if you're a locksmith taking on contractors, or if just perhaps you're looking for ways to improve your performance in your own business and basically reduce cost, then I've got a few solutions for you. So don't worry, it's not all going to be a presentation. I'm going to show you some real examples of exactly what I'm saying. Now, tracking. The reason you want tracking on your vehicles is to lower the service cost. You could have your vehicles being thrown around every corner, slid out, burning tyres, you name it. If you've got young staff, it could be happening, and that's something as a boss you really don't want to have to be paying extra money for. So lowering the service cost. Personal usage. I've seen it time and time again, locksmithing vehicles or company vehicles being used to move furniture or do things on the side on the weekend, which is just not what the boss has given you the vehicle to do. So being able to reduce that will reduce the overall cost of servicing the vehicle and maintaining the vehicle and the wear and tear on the vehicle. So definitely, those two factors really would be reduced with GPS tracking. On the job performance. Okay, so if you've got a vehicle or a van and you're sending it out to a job, you can actually see how long they're spending at the job. And you can also see how much time they're wasting in between the job. So personal performance is good, because if you're a boss and you're looking at it that you've got, let's say, 8 hours minus a lunch break, 7 hours to make the money for the day, and you've got jobs lined up and those jobs aren't getting done, you can really have a look and see, well, how come, this took so long, or how come, you were stopped here at Bunnings for so long. So you can really increase the performance of a worker by having GPS tracking. Customers, there's a lot of customers that want to know exactly where the person is. By not having to call your serviceman and being able to look at where they are on a computer, answer the customer over the phone and give them some direct indication of how long they're going to be, or how far away, or how many streets, reduces stress on not only you, but it also reduces stress on the serviceman doing the job. So take, for example, if a customer's on the phone saying, look, they should have been here 10 minutes ago, I'm locked out, where are they? You can look at the GPS tracking and say, okay, look, they're 2 streets away, coming up the street, probably about another 30 seconds. That's a phone call you didn't have to make to your serviceman. The serviceman's doing their best to drive there to get there on time. So by being able to see where they are, how fast they're moving, or where they're stuck, gives you some answers to tell your customers. And it's one more phone call you don't have to make. The tradesman doesn't want to answer your call, say, look, I'm 2 minutes away, and then you don't want to have to call the customer back and say 2 minutes away. So you're getting more direct answers quickly and easily. All right, tracking of jobs. Many a times, there's been times where jobs have been forgotten about. By going over the tracking allows you to say, okay, well, the vehicle was here for this amount of time, and then you can identify if there was any jobs. Sometimes with subcontractors, night shift, or even day shift, jobs can be forgotten about, and if they're forgotten about, somebody's not going to get paid along the way. So it is important to be able to have a list, a clearly printed list, and a lot of the times some of the staff can't give you a clear printed list, but if you could have the tracking, it gives you exactly where the vehicle's stopped and how long, so that gives you a good list. So very important at the end of the week. Okay, tracking the car for emergencies. Now, if something happens, or there's a crash, or somebody says, oh, one of your vehicles just crashed, or there's some sort of an emergency, being able to just log on, see where that vehicle is, and know that, that's where you need to go to find the vehicle, very important. Stock in the van. I've seen it happen time and time again. Locksmiths say, oh, my van got broken into, and they cleaned everything out. Well, with vehicle tracking, you can actually have a look and see where that van is at the time of the reported break-in. So if it was broken into at the serviceman's house and they say that everything's been cleaned out, you know clearly that something's wrong. Okay, prevent stolen stock, we've done that. Prevent side work. Now, that's another very important fact. I've had vehicles of my own where we pay everything and the person works Monday to Friday and then says, oh, I might do a job on the weekend or two for a family member. But what ends up happening is it ends up being every weekend doing more jobs than they do during the week, basically. So the daytime work drops off and the weekend work picks up. And I've seen it happen where they're virtually running a side business using your tools, your machines, your stuff, and all of the money is going to them while you're left with the wear and tear. So by having tracking allows you to reduce this down to a very, very minimum. All right, now, so let's just have a look at how tracking works. So how it works is every car with tracking has a little black box which is hardwired into the vehicle's electronics of the vehicle. That little black box can actually receive and send GPS signals, can receive GPS signals from satellites up in space. They basically allow to pinpoint the vehicle and give GPS coordinates. All of this information then is sent to the cell tower. The cell tower will then send it on to the cloud server, so it's going over the GSM network, and then basically through a browser, a viewer, you can look at exactly what's going on, how fast, whereabouts, and things like this. I'm going to show that interface in a few minutes. Another factor to know is that when you've got this on your vehicle, you can have it wired in a few different ways. You can have it constantly reporting, which will chew up your battery a lot faster, especially if your vehicle's not moving every day. The other way you can have it wired up is where it starts to turn on and starts to report when the car is actually in motion. For the security of, for locksmiths and things, I recommend going with the first option where it's always being recorded, because this allows you that extra confidence in knowing that if your van was ever put on the back of a tow truck or moved without starting it up by towing it down the road, it means that you've got that recorded and you can live track it. So by having it initiated only when the vehicle is on, leaves you that little bit of uncertainty that a tow truck could steal your van. And I like to have all bases covered, so I like to wear the battery out and just basically keep an eye on that battery, because it does wear down if you're constantly reporting. Another piece of technology that a lot of people don't consider is dash cams, and for any vehicle that I put out on the road definitely has a dash cam, and there's good reasons for it. For starters, if there's ever crashes, you want to know basically whose fault it is. Was it your driver's or was it somebody else's? Because if it's somebody else's fault, you don't want to have to be paying for the damage. There's been a couple of instances I remember back in the 2000s where I was driving somebody else's vehicle and somebody pulled out on me twice, and both of those times claimed that it was my fault when clearly it wasn't. They pulled into my lane and basically drove straight into me. So having dash cams is very important for collecting evidence, and you can have cameras which have front and back view, so you can see if somebody's going to run up the back of you. It really is worth its weight in for what you pay for them. They're quite easy to install. In this installation, in this example here, this is a black view of a very good brand. You can see that the clarity at night time is a lot better. It's put in with a little box that allows it to switch off when the battery is getting low, so you're not going to run your primary battery down. So that's very good. It'll give you like 24 hours recording after the vehicle is stopped, and after that it'll turn off. The cameras also have infrared in them as well, so they're really good at night time. There's a lot of things a dash cam can do, such as impact protection, movement sensing, forced opening, and all sorts of different things. They also record the in-cabin sound, and can capture some of the sound on the outside. Now this particular one I like best because it has Wi-Fi, so you only need to go back up to the car, stand next to it, pull out your mobile phone, and you can start to download footage, and that's a real bonus. You can also hook up your phone when you're in the vehicle and share that information too. So if a crash happens in front of you, you can simply open your phone, open the app, forward that footage to whoever you want to. Once you're if you want to download the footage or take the SD card out, you can put it on your Mac or your Windows. It also has GPS coordinates logged in that as well. So you've got a logger there, but the only downside of that is you have to take out the SD card to do that. But it is a second backup, and it definitely allows you to know what's happening on the road. If your vehicle's been out there all day and there's been some question about it, you can basically walk up to it when it's returned for the day, have a look at the way it's been driven, have a look at what's happening front and back of the vehicle, and also listen to what's in the vehicle. Definitely gives you a lot of control. Worthwhile having for the investment. Okay, so here's some example footage from the Blackview HD camera. It's on the front, it's on the back. So here you can see on my dash, you can see the reflection. My ticket's still 1 p.m. and look at the clock, it's down there in the bottom, the date, everything. And this officer is basically deliberately trying to give me a ticket before my ticket has expired. And I'm on my way back to the vehicle. And you can clearly see everything that's going on and the wide view from this dash cam footage. So having this dash cam definitely is worth it. And it's, saved me money in this instance, because then I could take this to court and argue this ticket. But the thing I didn't like about this is that this person is actually writing me a ticket when I still have a valid ticket. So I came along with my mobile phone out, start recording her, and watch her run away. Does that look like she's doing the right thing? So this has already saved me money, this Blackview. Okay, next cab off the rank is GSM car alarm systems. Now you can put this in over your standard alarm system. You can put this in even if you don't have an alarm system. You can wire it up so it can use your factory central locking remote if you want. The way this works is it has a SIM card and it basically sends signals through the mobile phone network, which then can be sent to your mobile phone. So if you're a boss and you'd like to know that your vans are out there and they're not being broken into, you can have this. If you get a message on your phone and it says that one of your vans is broken into, you then can alert the person who is using that van if they're not receiving the messages as well. You can also get them to receive the messages and you at the same time. So that's just one little factor, so that if anyone does try and break into the vehicle or something happens to the vehicle, impact, you can be alerted to it, the driver can be alerted to it straight away. So GSM alarm system definitely worth the money. It gets better. You can do things like you get SMS reports, that's for one. SMS unlocking. If the driver locks themselves out of their vehicle, you can send an SMS to that vehicle and unlock it. It's central locking compatible, so even if you've got a current system, you can still integrate it. SMS stop the car. You can actually get it to work on a relay system and actually deactivate the car via SMS. It's not that tricky to do, and it definitely can be done. So if your vehicle for some reason you need to immobilize it, you can send an SMS to it and do that. Stop it from running, stop it dead in its tracks. Plus on top of that, if you had the tracking system, you know exactly where it is and where it stopped. You've also got the option of SOS remote button, which is just like a button on the dash. Let's say, for example, somebody's working in the back of the vehicle and they chop their finger off. Well, basically they could push that button and then you would have no problems. You know basically that you've been sent a message. You can configure that for a number of different reasons, so that is just an extra option. On the remote control, there is a button there as well where you can push that. So if you want to send a message to the boss, you could simply take your key fob out of your pocket and push that button. So depending on what you set that up for, you could say to your boss, I'm going to push that button if this is this, or if I need extra support and I need another worker to come out and help me finish this job. So you can do it in a number of ways, but having a GSM alarm system allows you to take control of your vehicle as far as theft, and also gives the driver a few extra options as far as safety. Okay, last one. Phone systems. Now a lot of people aren't going to like this, but I'm going to give it to you straight and tell you exactly how to do it and why to do it. Now if you've got a landline phone, let's say for your shop or office, and you want to basically be able to put an emergency person on after hours, what you really should do is put it through a cloud phone system or cloud PABX. What this does is it allows you to record the calls for quality and training purposes, and it also allows you to play an announcement. Now, some of the good systems allow you to forward the caller ID so that the person who the phone number is being forwarded to can actually see who's calling. So in the event of a lost call, they can simply push redial, or in the event they can't get the number off the person because they don't speak good English, they can see that who's called and they've got that number. Also, with some of these cloud systems, the good ones, there's no delay, and they give you a log where you can log in on the computer and you can see all the calls that came through. This is very important for call quality and also performance, and also to make sure that your staff are not dodging anything or not doing things properly or not reporting jobs. So as a business owner, this is a must that you should have without a doubt. Just put it in there, and whether or not it's used, or whether or not you go over it, or whether or not there's any discrepancies, having systems like this allow there not to be any discrepancies, and it's good for the for the employees also to know that it is being recorded, so that way they know you do the right thing, everything's going to be fine. Definitely a good way to keep control of your phone system. Another way is with a mobile phone, you can actually install an app and lock it down with a PIN number and have it downloading to a cloud. Now what happens in this scenario is that when the phone starts making phone calls, it's recorded via an app, sends it to a cloud, and then from there you can log into the cloud anywhere and see all those phone calls. Once again, it's for basically training quality purposes, but the thing is that you can, as a boss owner, you can tell a lot of what's going on and see if there's any mistakes being made, any jobs being lost, and you can also make sure that nobody's stealing from the business, because it is important to be able to trust your staff and workers, and it is important that they answer the phone and do these particular things. But by having this, protects you and also protects the business. There's been a few times where there's been discrepancies about the customers saying you never said this or you said that, and the truth is when the call's recorded, there's no debating it. One thing is, in your particular state or country, it is important to know that you must put an announcement in there in most places. So if you are going to record the calls, it is important to have that, let them know the call's being recorded, and then they have the option to hang up or not if you want to use the calls in evidence. You can use all these systems as they are, but you won't be able to use them in evidence, and there is probably some law or some privacy agreement you might be breaching in doing that. So read the fine print before doing it, but as a business owner, it definitely needs to be done, and many businesses are recording calls in and out these days. It's almost like a standard. So to be able to take control of your business, it's definitely one thing that's well worth doing, and it's become the norm now. Everybody does it these days, and if you're not doing it, well, it's something you really should think about doing. At least that way you can remotely look at everything that's going on with your business. You can look at the calls coming in, you can look at the vans going out, you can look at how they're being driven, you can look at whether or not they're being broken into or moved unauthorized. All of these factors give you, as a boss, a lot more protection, a lot more power to run a more efficient and effective business and reduce wastage and cost. If any of this information was helpful for you, or you've used some of these systems, or you'd like to place a comment, please leave it down below. If there's another topic or video you'd like us to do, or something you'd like us to cover, please leave it in the comments down below, and thanks for watching.